Hello everybody, I am JJ and you are currently watching some monkey business. Sure has been a while since my last video, you know, the one where I built a little display model of Agent 3 from Splatoon specifically as a LEGO Ideas project. Anyhow, since then I've received a great amount of support from you all, something I had not really expected, to be honest. Like, who was gonna tell me that the video itself was going to get over 60,000 views, or that the LEGO Ideas project was going to reach 1,000 supporters on the first week alone? So, all I want to say is, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, it's been heartwarming seeing people support what is essentially a little challenge I decided on tackling on a boring afternoon. Now, I know you might probably have a burning question ruminating in the back of your mind, so I'll address the elephant in the room. Why did I make this a display set in the first place? I don't know. Look, it just comes down to me wanting to see what a Splatoon display set could look like. I find a lot of the existing display sets very interesting to look at, but I also didn't want to make anything too complex, which is why I chose to build it at such a small scale. But hey, if it's any consolation, LEGO Minecraft also started out having a LEGO Ideas display set, with it becoming a full-on theme with minifigures later on. Actually, is this even a display set? I can't tell. Even Sonic the Hedgehog had a similar history, so who's to say that wouldn't happen with Splatoon as well? Just saying. Although, if you're the kind of person that's just aching, I'm aching, for a minifigure skill set, I would like to give a shout out to this other LEGO Ideas Splatoon project, based on the Deca Tower seen in Splatoon 2's Inkopolis Square, lovingly designed by the user Takuro. Now back to our thing. Once the Agent 3 project was submitted, now came the issue of how I was going to sustain it, because you can't just publish a LEGO Ideas project and let that be in the end of it, no. You gotta handle the promotional work afterwards. You know, get people to click on the support button and stuff. And so, what's my promotional strategy? Glad you asked. Let me show you this! Behold, the milestone reward system! For every 1,000 supporters the project receives, I will be challenging myself by building several iconic Splatoon characters in this brick build style. Currently, we're at the 3K mark, and the rest, well, they may have question marks above their silhouettes, but we all know who they are. Keep in mind though, these are not a part of the Agent 3 display set itself. They are merely just me wanting to explore the idea of designing these characters in a way that can match the original Agent 3 model itself. So yeah, if you wish for me to build your favorite character that's currently hidden behind a silhouette, then make sure to give the LEGO Ideas project your utmost support, and tell your friends and family about it. For this video, I'll be showing off the design process for the first 3 milestone models. So let's get to it, shall we? So, I forgot to record footage. But no matter, I'm just gonna talk about the builds themselves. Truthfully, there's really nothing that special about these models except for the fact that they're basically just the casual outfits for both the Inkling boy and the Inkling girl. You might notice that these Inklings have no headgear or anything of the sorts. Because like the Inkling boy is supposed to have goggles, and the Inkling girl is supposed to have headphones. They don't have them here. Why? It's because I just wanted to see how they'd look like without the headphones from the Agent 3 builds. Settled on these slopes to achieve the ears. Let me talk a bit about this splatter shot build. I gotta be honest, I quite like it. My only kind of gripe is that this piece didn't have like the length so that this piece could be like in the middle, somewhere around here. But take what you can get. Still kind of achieves the form though, which is really nice. It's a pretty simple build. It's just a bar connected to like a bunch of bricks, I also gave it to an orange version to the Inkling girl. Now to their outfits. Pretty much just simple prints. I had to like look at a bunch of like reference images to like find out the logos and stuff. That was interesting enough. But except for this one, I actually just eyeballed the shape just so it could be like squarish. And the shoes, I gotta be honest, I really love how I built the shoes on the Inkling boy. I really like how I achieved almost the same level of thickness the actual shoes have. But yeah, the Inkling girl's shoes though, I had a lot of problems with like the coloring because like Lego's pink catalog, like the pinks aren't always right. But yeah, aside from that, the prints I also really like doing. So yeah, I'm just gonna move these. I'm just gonna move these so you can like get a better comparison. So yeah, if you wanted to see a comparison between these models and their Agent 3 forms, well, here you go. There's the Inkling girl and the Inkling boy. So yeah, I think with that we can move on to the next reward model, which are the Judds. Let's go. At last, a unique silhouette for me to work with. These specimens are quite rotund, if I do say so myself. So it'll definitely pose a hefty challenge when translating to the brick. Oh, well, that was quick. I will say though that that face piece proved to be quite useful to like achieve the roundness. Another interesting tidbit is that I use some very interesting building techniques when designing the belly, like the way I inverted the studs. That was pretty interesting. I did have to modify the tail just for it to be visible in the final render. And to be honest, I don't regret that decision at all. But something that did cause me problems though were the hands. Or, paws. I meant paws. But you know how it goes, I eventually figured it out. Using two innocuous pieces, one bar, one clip, held together by a stud connection, I managed to make it so that old Judd here could hold the flag in a way that didn't look jarring. But now that Judd's build was done, it's Li'l Judd's turn. This tiny little clone was a bit finicky to get looking right at first. Well, his head wasn't that much of a problem, it was more so finding the right body for him. Like, he looked too much like a robot, and that really wasn't good enough for me. But in the end, I ended up finding a body design that I liked. So now it was time to give these cats a 9 life, and give them some prints. Which was a pretty straightforward, but unremarkable process. Just draw over the references, adjust some things here and there, and import it all into Studio. And well, that's all for these mammals. Let's head on over to Inkopolis Plaza's iconic Shopkeepers. Now, this part is going to be a little different. Don't worry, I didn't forget to record this time. In fact, I decided to stream a bit of the building process to my friends in a voice call. Where exactly? I ain't telling. That information is for me to know and for you to find out. You tuna! Anyhow, shout out to my good friends who are a part of this call for making the building a lot more fun. Let's get this section started. I want to import an image. How does one import an image again? Import an image.
Is there like a
reference image? There we go.
part? Oh.
Yeah.
He's so blue. I forgot how blue that guy is.
Yeah, he's so blue. I mean, in game.
I'm so blue.
Like, you know, every time I like go into like Studio's catalog, I always find pieces that I never even like
seen.
Like I never even noticed. What?
Well, it's just a one piece.
It's a nuke.
He's like a Splatoon bomb.
Tactical nuke incoming.
Wow! Now just landed to Antarctica.
You got sports. Sports, huh?
Sports.
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 I'm gonna die.
Sports. That looks like an eel. A gulper eel. Oh, it's dancing.
What the hell? I forgot she said that.
She's so awesome. She just does that. She just does that.
We love frying. We love Fry.
We do love Fry. I would throw cheese at her forehead.
What piece are you gonna use to make his head?
I don't know.
Honestly, there's so many like weird like curved slopes in the Lego system now that you can probably make like very close to the head shape.
Yeah. Like this?
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yay! Yay!
I wonder if there's like a round 4x4.
I was gonna say there is kind of a round 4x4 thing, but it's like a little bit too tall. That could work.
Eh.
Kind of that, yeah, the one you have at, that's kind of what I was thinking.
I don't know what it looks like in the bot.
Not gonna lie, Jay, I
The
think you
shows
just
we
found the
watch are so confusing.
piece. Yeah, you just found the piece, man.
Oh! Hold on, everyone. This is a big brain. This is a big brain technique.
Let's hear
You're a
it.
genius. You're
Let's hear
actually
it.
a genius.
Yes, sure.
Oh!
Yeah.
It works!
Yeah. I'm really starting to think that maybe I should like reduce his head to like two studs here instead of like having the. I guess. Hold on.
Jay, you can absolutely do a crazy stud reversal with a bar through that.
Yes! Oh my god. Skye.
Wait, what?
Genius. You.
I am genius.
No, like an
Jay, you cracked the code. You cracked the code, man. That's it.
With Jelonzo pretty much done, now it was time to start building everyone's favorite yapper. Good old Sheldon Shellendorf. For his design, I wanted to use the minion design seen in set 75582 Brick Build Gru and minions as inspiration, seeing as, well, they have certain similarities. Let me show you all my plan for Sheldon. I'm going to use this build as inspiration. Now, here's the thing. Adapting the minions goggle build into this model was easy at first. However, you'll see later that it was simply the beginning of a challenge I had to overcome.
I swear to God.
Wow, crazy over me saying that? Okay, man.
How you?
Fun police over here. Fun police over here. Okay, man. No, just, I'll stop.
And here we arrived at the hardest part, trying to build Sheldon's shell.
Horseshoe crab.
That's not what horseshoe crabs look like. Like,
Yes, it
this
does.
implies that. Okay, if Sheldon is a horseshoe crab, this implies his bloodline spans millions of years.
Yeah.
Dude is old.
Horseshoe crab survived the fall of Rome. Think about that.
I never thought about it that way.
Because his shell is typically shown at an angle, which was definitely a real hassle to deal with. I tried all sorts of methods to try to get the shell at an angle, but most of them either made the connection too visible, were impossible to build IRL given the physical restrictions, or just felt too flimsy for my taste. Sure, one could say that it's easy to pull off, but not when you're trying to fit a tail in a way that works. What do I mean by this? Well, you'll see in action in a bit, but I wanted to fit this piece underneath the shell to complete the horseshoe crab look. Easier said than done. Given the fact that the piece is angled upwards, I had to flip it upside down. But that meant I had to pull off some crazy stud reversal technique. But the problem was, how? Nevertheless, I had to find that specific piece first and foremost. However, well...
What is what echo?
They don't have the part I'm looking for in studio. They put it in the printed pieces section. That's why I couldn't find it at first, and it wasn't even printed either. But hey, all that matters is that the piece was found, and we can continue building his shell. Which, as you can see, took me several tries to get right. Here's me putting on a plate, and here's me trying the stud reversal. But I won't bore you with the specifics. I managed to get the tailed stud reversal and the angled shell working, so there's that. The next character up on the chopping block is Crusty Sean, and to be honest, I had a lot of fun building him. I feel like he translated the best into brick form, and I'm super proud of how his final design ended up becoming. I originally wanted to use a whip piece for his antennae, but the shape wasn't quite what I was looking for, so I went with bendy tubes instead. His limbs were also a lot of fun to design. I could practically go on about how the piece used to attach his little shoes gave me the perfect angle to match the official pose, or that I used the arm design from the Inkling since, well, they're kind of skeletal in nature. Or heck, that I enjoyed the fact that I didn't have to design new shoes for the guy since he and the Inkling boy share the same exact shoe design, only in different colors. I originally thought his fried body was going to give me a bit of trouble considering the curvature and texture of it. But the amount of slopes in the LEGO system definitely made that job easier, especially that 1x1 pyramid piece. Adding them felt good. But what doesn't feel good is our next character, Annie, and by extension Mo. I had to lock in for this one, so sadly there's no footage of me designing her head, but trust me, it was a pain getting it right. And even then I'm not too proud of it, but I made do with what I had. So after building Annie, it was time for me to design the prints for each of these characters. From faces, to shirts, all the way to small details. Then we imported all into my little LEGO building app, and in the end, this is what we're left with. The Shopkeepers from Inkopolis Plaza in a LEGO buildable figure form. If you're wondering about Crusty Sean's missing eyes, the prints I made did not want to stick for some reason, so I edited them in post. To be clear with you all, none of these scale right with the Inklings. They're a bit too small, but I think they're fine as is. And now we've reached the end of our little run throughout town. Again, thank you all for supporting the project. None of these would be made without your help. And there's more where that came from too. If you want to see more videos and models like these, make sure to give the LEGO Ideas Onward Agent 3 project your support. Simply create a LEGO account, press the yellow support button, and you're done. If we reach 10,000 supporters, then the project itself will be considered to be made into a real-life LEGO product that you can buy, build, and display. So give your support. And if you like what I've made in general, make sure to follow me on my socials. Thanks for watching. Adios!
Bow, bow.